Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first, I think as the Shadow Minister for Justice, I would like to convey words of acknowledgement and appreciation to the justices of the Supreme Court for coming out very clearly and boldly in delivering this judgment, which had caused great concern amongst the public and some sorts of anxiety. So I would like to thank the judiciary, the Chief Justice, and the justices who delivered this unanimous decision. Mr. Speaker, Article 126, Clause 2E, and I would like to read, says that substantive justice shall be administered without undue regard to technicalities. The learned Attorney General understands this very well. What he's trying to do is trying to delay substantive justice. The orders are as clear, and that court-martial, in my understanding, has not been disbanded. What I'd expected today or yesterday was for the court-martial to sit and say, we are now discharging all these persons that were before us, that at that time we thought we had the authority to try them. But now that court has declared, we are now discharging them. And that would be the most logical step to do. We also know that courts rely on departments and agencies and authorities of government to function. Courts do not have the force to go and pick people, just like the speaker you observed here. As parliament, we cannot go to prisons and open those padlocks. Courts rely on the goodwill of the executive in implementing the decisions that they issue. So I expected that the Attorney General, the DPP, the Commissioner General of Prisons, whoever is involved, to comply with this. The last point I would like to ask the Attorney General. You have read to us very good advice you have rendered. I would like to know whether you rendered that advice to the President. The President quoted you, that he called you on phone, and you seem to have given him an advice that does not match with what you are telling us here. Would you now? And Mr. Speaker, this letter from the President is in the open. I don't need to go through it. But he quoted that he got in touch with the Attorney General, who explained to him certain things. I understand that the Attorney General, being a party to the suit at that time in the heat of the moment, having lost that big case, you would have lost a little bit of your composure. But would you now clarify to us? And I've ever been to the Supreme Court as a litigant, and I lost a case. I know what it feels like. So I understand what the Attorney General went through. But would the Attorney General tell us clearly if this advice that he has told us here is exactly what he rendered to the head of the state? Because what the President wrote potentially undermines the rule of law, undermines democracy, and I thought that it is incumbent upon the Attorney General to guide the President on the next course of action. Would you clarify to us and even lay, where possible, that opinion? Because this is not just advice. You said a legal opinion, and there is clarity on how a legal opinion is rendered. Would we see that here, Mr. Speaker?
Thank you, colleagues in the public gathering this afternoon. We have students from Hatungbanja Child and Youth Development Center, Namaingo South County, Namaingo District. They are represented in Parliament by Honorable Wanyama Mike Odori and Honorable Makoa Margaret. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Please join me in welcoming them. The Honorable Attorney General. Narrate the Attorney General, please. Answer some questions.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
I can pick another set, okay?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, the court-martial cannot sit. So it cannot sit to make any orders that you want them to make. That's one. Number two, if there are facts that you have, Honorable Medad Ssegona, as a senior lawyer, if there are facts like you have stated here, the best place to take them is to the court. Yeah? Yes. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Honorable Ssegona should know that as a practicing advocate, after you are successful in court, you extract a decree. If you think my advice is inconsistent with what the judgment said, you should at liberty to extract a decree, have the court sign it, and use it in the premises that you would like to use it. I have read this judgment variously, and you may think that I was sleeping. I did not. I spent time reading this judgment page by page, and I word for word. And what I have advised here, I did not get from my head. I got from the judgment. The matter under discussion is not the Court of Appeal decision. The matter under discussion is the Supreme Court decision. Was appealed against is misplaced. Now, there are no timelines. I agree. But we have sent the matters to the courts which granted these orders. The courts are still clothed with the authority to make any orders that they deem appropriate. Like
Point of order.
You see, Right Honorable Speaker, when the Attorney General speaks, he's the head of the bar. Everybody at the bar ordinarily should keep quiet. I agree with him that a successful litigant goes ahead together with the losing litigant to sign a decree, to prepare a decree jointly. If he was waiting for a decree, what was the basis of his advice? Number two, I am not aware, and he can now educate us, the law under which a losing or vanquished litigant would write to court to ask for which orders. The orders, Honorable Nwagaba says, is self-executing. Is the Attorney General therefore in order to mislead both the House and the country that the person who was in court when the judgment was being issued is waiting for a decree extracted by one party?
Attorney General, you want to make some clarification, if I can guide?
Right Honorable Speaker, I think where we are going here is a bit of a runaround, because I have told you my understanding of the judgment. And yes, and that's why maybe I lost. But what we are saying is that if you disagree with what I have written as what the court said, the arbiter is there. Now, finally, Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure, Honorable Seshkuba. Procedure.